No more Batman. I'll drink to that.
Before I get into the details of my experience, I'm going to start this review by saying Batman Arkham Shadow is a technical marvel on MetaQuest 3 and MetaQuest 3S. Never before on Quest have I been so impressed with the visuals of a game on a standalone device, and in comparison to PCVR and PSVR 2 games, Batman Arkham Shadow can happily rub shoulders with these platforms, and it will set a new quality bar regarding expectations on Quest in terms of visuals and overall VR presentation on Meta's devices going forward. And I can only hope we get more games of this quality in the future. So with all that being said, Batman Arkham Shadow does, just like any other game though, have some technical issues, at least as of right now. Some of these may have happened because I was recording my entire gameplay, but I still obviously have to report them to you all the same. Please keep in mind this is not the final build that you will all be playing at launch, so a lot of these issues are apparently being addressed with the day one patch. These issues vary from moments of loading stutter, some animations during combat get bugged, controls can become unresponsive during combat, the game freezes during its real-time in-game cutscenes, audio is sometimes missing and cuts off suddenly, and most alarmingly, the game has crashed many times in the 10 hours it has taken me to beat the story. Those 10 hours though were over 3 days because this game is a serious physical workout even on normal difficulty. But with all that being said, Batman Arkham Shadow plays fantastically well, and this really is what the developers said it would be. We have a true, fully sized Batman Arkham game in virtual reality with a fantastically engaging story, lots of side quests, collectibles, combat challenges, cameos from characters that we love from the Batman universe, and it's all wrapped together in an unforgettable campaign and definitely has some surprising moments for those of us who know the Batman games pretty well. The music is absolutely next level as you would expect, the sound effects are fantastic and the voice work is absolutely superb, featuring the talents of Elijah Wood as Dr. Crane aka Scarecrow, who actually turns out to be one of my favourite standout characters of the game, and you also have Troy Baker as Harvey Dent aka Two-Face, and the list of talent goes on. While playing Batman Arkham Shadow, I was definitely reminded of Arkham Asylum, and just to get this out of the way, Asylum is still my favourite game in the series, even after playing Shadow, but I would definitely put this as my second favourite in the Arkham series, and I've come away believing this is probably not only contender for VR Game of the Year, but one of the best VR games of all time for me personally, as a huge fan of the Batman Arkham series. Now the reason Arkham Shadow feels so similar to Arkham Asylum is most likely down to the MetaQuest's technical limitations. Having a huge sprawling city to explore like every other Batman Arkham game after Asylum just wouldn't be possible on Quest, especially at the level of quality Arkham Shadow delivers. It does a great job of keeping you in a maze full of discovery and distractions so that you don't question continuously going from gate to gate, which is where the level loading occurs, avoiding corridor fatigue. But there is also locations within Blackgate Prison, which is where you're going to spend most of your time, that have huge open interconnecting areas all broken up by security doors. It's very clever from a design standpoint, and these open areas extend to being on the streets and rooftops of Gotham that help you forget this is a pretty linear game, but you also have a lot of freedom to go and explore. So now it's time to talk about the combat, which for many is the real pull of any Batman game. There was a really big debate about the lock-on system and how the punches and moves are sort of directed for the player, but as I said previously in my first hands-on video, I think this actually works really well and is really physically intense. I think they've done a great job of transforming or even reimagining the flat screen combat and making it work in virtual reality, and is easily one of the most physically demanding games I've ever played in VR. And before I get too far, to quickly cover if this game can be seated, I have some bad news, because I can only see this possible if you have a stall that can swivel 360, because even though this game has all the comfort options you can imagine and well thought out things like if you press A to fire the grapple gun and hold A, it will automatically recenter you, you would have to be gifted like Steven Seagal and be able to fight in a chair, because personally I just can't see this happening. I found myself regularly getting too immersed and turning and spinning to face my next opponent, and I nearly always forgot I could simply turn using the joysticks. The controls and moves during combat can also get a bit overwhelming and frustrating, especially if you don't take a break. But when it all flows and you're hitting 40 or even 50 plus hit combos, it's incredibly satisfying challenging and really immersive. And I would sometimes just really enjoy those last 4 or 5 hits and the double hammer fists to finish them off. The combat moves evolve as the game introduces you to more harder enemies that require their own moves, such as the big armoured guards, which require a cape swipe to knock their guard off, followed by 10 to 20 very fast punches, and just like the original Batman games, the stun baton guys were my Achilles heel. These guys require an individual flick up on the right stick to leap over and then punch them from behind, which took some getting used to. I also smashed my controllers against one another or against the wall in my room, which caused them to disconnect, which can obviously hurt your hands and be kind of frustrating, especially if the left controller disconnects, because then you can't pause the game. But this is no fault of the game, of course, but I think it would be nice if the game registered that controllers have been disconnected and pause automatically. Now, one of the things I like to do when I complete an Arkham game is start again in a harder difficulty, get all the collectibles and try on different suits, because much like every other game, as you first play through, there are some places you miss or simply can't access because you don't have the right equipment. But in this game, that doesn't seem to be the case. You can obviously go back to find any collectibles or trophies that you've missed, but you won't need the Batman Arkham gear to do it. Meaning, if you really do take your time going through the campaign, you could unlock everything in one go. But I was nowhere near completing any of the collectibles in my 10-hour playtime. When you unlock the Batcave, you have 2 monitors, one with the level select and one with the challenges. The challenges are actually really cool, but there's only 3 combat challenges and only 3 predator challenges, unless I'm missing something in the menus, which was a bit of a shame, but I still enjoyed doing them. So to summarise, Batman Arkham Shadow has been nothing short of an incredible journey full of high quality moments that you just don't get to witness very often in VR, and that's on any system, and players for the very first time get to finally become the knight, as we keep hearing from time to time. The combination of detective work, story, characters and combat kept me always looking forward to the next time I put on the headset to play again, and even though the credits have rolled, I'll definitely be coming back for more. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it helps you out, please click like and subscribe. If you do pick up Batman Arkham Shadow, let others know how you find it. And if you haven't purchased it yet, I've included my affiliate link, which gives you 10% off in the video description. Thank you ever so much, and I'll see you on the next one.